differences we have when it comes to hardware, one thing in common are the minimum requirements for the games. Now here on this channel, low spec, cheap and slightly older components are always our focus, and it's always fun to check them out. But as I said, we don't all share the same hardware. However, with the minimum requirements for the games always staying the same, I thought it would be interesting in today's video to actually focus more on that side of things. So this is 5 great games that you can play on almost any PC. Now the following games aren't in any particular order, they're just 5 of my favourites that should be playable on just about any PC or laptop, but of course I'll be listing the minimum specs required for every game as well so that you can make sure. So let's get into it. Now first up we have the original Mafia game. Set in the 1930s, you play Tommy Angelo, a taxi driver trying to make a living on the streets of Lost Heaven, which is based, I believe, on New York City during the period of Prohibition. It's a third-person open-world sandbox game that sees Tommy unwittingly get involved with the Salieri crime family, quickly rising through the ranks to become a made man. Now this game is a classic and the open world is very fun to explore. Best of all, you only need a Pentium 3 or Athlon XP 1600 Plus with 128MB of RAM and a 16MB GPU to play it. Next up we have GTA San Andreas, another open world sandbox game that I'm sure many of you have probably played. You play CJ or Cole Johnson, who flies home from Liberty City to San Andreas after the news that your mum has been killed. Upon arrival, you're threatened to be framed for murder by corrupt police officers unless you work for them, and you've also sort of got to re-establish your old gang along the way. During your time in San Andreas, you'll explore recreations of Los Angeles, San Francisco and Las Vegas, and you'll be following an excellent plot that bases some missions on real life events such as riots, gang wars and the exposure of the police force in LA during the 1990s. This game requires a 1GHz Pentium 3 or Athlon CPU, 256MB of RAM and a 64MB graphics card. Next up we have Portal. Here you play as a young woman named Chell who is trapped within a science complex designed by AI that has gone rogue. You'll be quickly given access to the, well, portal gun, as I think most people call it, which allows you to create portals on almost any surface and traverse areas and environments that would otherwise be inaccessible. As you make your way through the environments, the game gets harder and harder and requires you to do some serious thinking on some occasions, or maybe that's just me. You quickly find out that the broken AI of the facility is actually trying to kill you though, and things quickly take a darker turn. A 1.7GHz Pentium 4 or Athlon XP, along with 512MB of RAM and pretty much any DirectX 8 supported graphics card are the minimum requirements here. Now a list of great games wouldn't be a list of great games without mentioning the Elder Scrolls. Now in this case it's Morrowind, as not only is it a very good game, but I've never encountered a PC that couldn't run it. You are taken away from an Imperial City prison to the land of Morrowind with no explanation as to why. The main quest centres on you being a prophecy and the protector of Morrowind, but as with all Elder Scrolls games, you're free to do what you wish and when, in an exciting and interactive open world that is full of side quests and interesting characters. If you like the newer Elder Scrolls titles like Skyrim for example, but your PC can't quite handle it, then this may be the one to go with. Oblivion is good as well, but in my opinion this one is better and it requires less power spec wise, with only a 500MHz Pentium 3, Celeron or Athlon and 256MB of RAM with a 32MB GPU. Now last but by no means least we have Half-Life 2. Now shamefully I'd never played this game when it first came out, but firing it up for the first time a couple of days ago was definitely an exciting experience. Whilst the first game is good and will also run well on almost any system, this one is excellent. Half-Life 2 opens up with you playing as Gordon Freeman, arriving by train in City 17, which is under control of an interdimensional empire known as the Combine. You quickly learn of events that took place between the first and second game. Half-Life 2 is a first-person shooter with varied enemies and environments, made all the more fun by the gravity gun, which can manipulate objects and help you solve in-game puzzles. Without giving too much away in terms of plot, the game offers a pretty unique experience, and it's no surprise that gamers are calling for a third in the series. You'll need a 1.7 GHz CPU, 512 MB of RAM, and a DirectX 8 supported graphics card for this one. So there we have it. Now I've tried to choose games that will run on pretty much anything, so that anyone can enjoy them regardless of whether you're using a desktop, laptop or even Windows tablet. There are so many games out there that can be enjoyed on even the most basic of systems, and I hope that you guys will enjoy these just as much as I did. Some of you may have even played all of them. Remember, if there's a game out there that you want to buy, but you're not sure if your PC is up to it, just type it in Google, followed by minimum specs, and then you'll know for sure. And of course, if you have any other low spec games that you've played, or you know run very well on slightly lower end systems, then don't forget to put them down in the comment section below. And as always guys, thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, leave a dislike if you didn't enjoy so much, subscribe to